Hi everybody! My name is Madeline Ivy, and I am the Assistant Director of Children and Family Ministry at St. Michael and All Angels Episcopal Church. And today, I am here to tell you another story about God's Son, Jesus. Now, our story today takes place on the same day of Jesus' resurrection, when God brought Jesus back to life. Now, Jesus' disciples had witnessed Jesus' death, and they had also heard from Mary Magdalene and some of the women who were followers of Jesus that they had seen Jesus alive. But some of Jesus' disciples weren't sure what to believe. So our story from God's Word, the Bible, today comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 24, and it begins here in verse 13, and it goes all the way to right here with verse 35. This is a story from God's Word, the Bible. Now, on the same day as Jesus' resurrection, when God brought Jesus back to life, two of Jesus' followers were traveling from the city of Jerusalem all the way to a village that was called Emmaus. Now, the village of Emmaus wasn't too far from the city of Jerusalem. Well, as they were walking, the two followers were talking with one another about all the things that had happened in Jerusalem over the past few days. Well, as they were walking and talking about these things, Jesus himself came near. And then Jesus began to walk with the two followers. But the two followers were not allowed to recognize Jesus. To them, Jesus looked like a stranger. Jesus asked the two followers, "What is it that you are talking about as you walk along?" Well, at this, the two followers stopped, and their faces were very sad. One of the followers' names was Cleopas. Cleopas said to Jesus, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who has not heard about the things that have happened in Jerusalem over these past few days?" Jesus said to Cleopas and the other follower, "What things?" Cleopas and the other follower said to Jesus, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus said and did many powerful things, and so he was seen as a prophet by God and all the people. But our chief priests and our leaders handed Jesus over to be judged and killed, and they crucified him. But we were hoping that Jesus would be the one who would free God's people. And it has now been 3 days since all of this happened. And what's more, today, some of our women from our group told us some amazing things. They went to Jesus' tomb early this morning, but they didn't find Jesus' body. The women came and told us that they had seen a vision of angels that said that Jesus was alive. Well, some from our group went to Jesus' tomb, and they found things just as the women had said, but they didn't see Jesus." Then Jesus said to Cleopas and to the other follower, "You foolish people, how slow you are to realize what is true. You should believe everything that the prophets said in God's Word." Then Jesus began to explain to Cleopas and the other disciple everything that had been written about Jesus in God's Word. Jesus started talking about the words of Moses. And then Jesus talked about everything that the prophets had said about Jesus. Well, it was a long walk to the village of Emmaus, but eventually Jesus and Cleopas and the other follower finally came near to the village of Emmaus. But Jesus acted as if he wasn't going to stop in Emmaus, but was going to continue on walking. But Cleopas and the other follower, they begged Jesus to stay with them. Cleopas and the other follower said to Jesus, "Please, stay with us. It is nearly evening, and the day is almost done." So Jesus agreed to stay with them for a little while. And Jesus and Cleopas and the other follower all went inside together. Well, inside, Jesus sat down at a table with Cleopas and the other follower in order to share a meal together. Jesus took the bread that was on the table, and he gave thanks to God for it. Then Jesus broke the bread, and he gave it to Cleopas and the other follower. Well, at that, Cleopas and the other follower were suddenly allowed to recognize Jesus. They realized that the person that they had been walking and talking with this whole time was actually Jesus. But as soon as Cleopas and the other follower realized who Jesus was, Jesus disappeared from their sight. Then Cleopas and the other follower said to one another, "When Jesus was talking with us on the road, and when he explained the true meaning of God's word to us, didn't it feel so exciting that it felt like there was a fire burning inside of us?" Then Cleopas and the other follower got up right away, and together they went back to the city of Jerusalem at once. Now, it was still a bit of a long walk to get all the way back to the city of Jerusalem. Now, all of Jesus' disciples and followers were all gathered together in a house. Well, when Cleopas and the other follower arrived in the city of Jerusalem, they found all of Jesus' disciples and followers. Jesus' disciples and followers were saying to one another, "The Lord really has risen from the dead. He is alive, and he has appeared to Simon Peter." Then Cleopas and the other follower told the rest of Jesus' disciples and followers about everything that had happened on the road to Emmaus and how they had recognized Jesus when Jesus had broken the bread. And this is the story from God's Word, the Bible. This is the word of the Lord. Let us all say, "Thanks be to God." Amen.